I'm glad you're thinking about it so hard, though. Gotta really think it through.
I can tell you about the nice ones because those actually stick with me better. Like, there was a time at my old place, I used to live in like a stacked townhouse, where I guess we must have had like a new neighbor coming in above us. But like I just had to knock on the door one day and I answered the door and it's just some lady saying that like, hey, some guys are going to be doing some tiling in my bathroom, and so I think you're the guy living below me. It's a weird shaped like unit that we all lived in, so it's not easy to tell who actually lives below you. And so she's like, I hope this doesn't disturb you too much if they do the tiling from this time to this time. I was like, actually, I work from home. But don't worry about it. I'm not recording today anyway. And then after when the tiling was done, not only did she send me text message updates on the tiling, which I didn't need, it's fine, but she also came by after and just surprise dropped off a case of beer and just said, hey, I don't know if you guys drink, but like, thank you so much for being so cool about the tiling thing. I was like, oh my God, thank you. Now, every single beer in it...
You want me to think Canadians are rude?
Now,
this
every
is like
beer
the best
in
thing I've ever heard.
every beer in it sucked. However, the thought is definitely what counted. That was very nice. I failed to think of a really rude thing, but I don't know. I don't go out all that much because, you know, my job kind of keeps me at home, and there was a pandemic that one time.
Listen, I've gotten even paler ever since starting YouTube. I don't even know how that was possible, but here we are.
Wow. I got more tanned in the last few years of... Basically, just over COVID, I got more tanned. Yeah, because I have a backyard at this place. It's a very small one, but it gets a lot of sun for like 3 hours. So last summer, and I'm doing it again this summer, whenever the weather permits, assuming the weather allegations aren't wrong, I will put in my earbuds, play like a podcast, usually Deadlock Wrestling podcast, because of course, and then I just lay out in the sun for like an hour and a half.
Do you know
with sunscreen,
a lot of bugs
you know.
in Canada?
Yes. Okay, so Ontario is like fucking bug capital here, but the mosquitoes aren't really bad in my neighborhood. We're just far enough away from the water that the mosquitoes aren't too bad here. They're really bad at the old place, actually. Yeah, bugs actually kind of suck in Ontario a lot, but
yeah, that's what I'm asking about, because
there isn't much that gets me out there. Like there's like spiders and stuff, which I don't like spiders, but you know, what's she gonna do?
What's the biggest spider you've ever seen?
When I lived out in Dunnville, there were spiders, like dock spiders. Actually, no, the dock spiders are more up north, and like when you go up to like up to Huntsville and stuff, and north of that, but up to cottage country, because there's a big cottage culture here in Ontario, because the older generation, like my grandparents' generation, was very wealthy and they all own property. So like, you know, families have a cottage in the family usually. Not mine anymore, but you know. Biggest spider would have been up there. The dock spiders, they got ones the size of... I was going to compare it to my hand, but you don't know the size of my hand.
Large, right?
Very large, very big, fat, active hunters. I don't think they do webs, so like they're the ones that'll touch you. What's like a around the house thing I could compare to it? If it was on top of your phone.
Banana for scale.
A banana for scale?
Yeah.
If you put it next, the biggest one I ever saw, if you put it next to a banana from like longest leg to longest leg, if they were just sitting next to each other, the spider, its legs would probably cover most of the banana, almost the whole thing.
I'd actually rather die than see that spider in real life.
Oh yeah, I really don't like those ones. I don't live near those. But there are big ones in southern Ontario. So here's something people don't know about Canada. A lot of people, they think Canada, they just think up north, really cold. And it does get really cold. But anyone who lives in Michigan would know the extremes of hot and cold that can happen there in the same year, back to back, because the elevation differences and the the warm fronts off the Great Lakes because, if you live in southern Ontario, where most of the farming goes on in the country, where most of the farmable land is, it's between a bunch of the Great Lakes, which is a really unique climate. So you have problems where, like, the hottest day of the year feels like 45 degrees Celsius, 100% humidity. And the coldest day of the year feels like -30. And between
Canada sounds like hell.
Yeah, and this is southern Ontario, which is in the Golden Horseshoe of southern Ontario, which is the bottom bit of it where it dips below the American line. You know how like the border with America is mostly a straight line except for in the east? The Golden Horseshoe is where it dips below. It's called the Golden Horseshoe because it's where most of the money is from and most of the people. Most Canadians live farther south than Northern Americans. Most Canadians live farther south than anyone in Seattle or anything like that. So it still gets really fucking cold here, but because of the elevation and the mountains and the hills and the flatland of the Great Lakes, the warm fronts come off the lake, they collide with the air coming down the elevated hills and everything, and you get your freak weather and your storm and your hailstorms. Did you see my Twitter earlier today?
No, I did not. But what you're saying just makes it sound like Southern Ontario is literally just the Canadian version of Florida, which is a lot like hell.
It's like Florida if Florida also got so cold that you would literally die in minutes.
Oh, so you guys have managed to make Florida, but like ×2, like an exponent above it.
Basically, yeah, and it is very humid because of all of the water, of course, all the fresh water around here. So, on my Twitter earlier today, I tweeted out some screenshots of my weather application on my phone. So today I got a weather warning saying that it's 30 degrees Celsius, the feels like is 41 degrees Celsius, the humidity is 100%, and that there will be gusts of winds of 110 kilometers per hour and hail the size of ping pong balls. It's a heat wave with hail. Hail and thunderstorms in a heat wave with 110 kilometer per hour winds.
Oh, you really do live in hell, MDB. I didn't know we would live that close to each other. What the fuck?
Like the winds here routinely get so bad that windows get smashed just by like debris getting flown around.
No, that actually sounds like a nightmare. Repairs are already so painful to deal with. It's bad enough when your AC goes down, like in this area.
When I moved into this place, the AC was broken, and we didn't know until the heat wave hit, and we realized the AC is not turning on.
Yeah, it's always only when the heat really starts coming in do you realize that your AC needs a little bit of a repair. Why does that happen every single year, it feels like?
Yeah, it turns out like it was literally in pieces outside. And the people who sold it to us or rented it to us, they didn't know. Because in Ontario, we have a big problem where, so ever since I was a little kid, they've referred to it as the Ontario housing crisis. It's still going on, and it got way worse this year because of inflation. But we have a thing here where people born in Ontario can't afford to ever get a house in Ontario because the price has never actually gone down, because so many people move to Ontario just because they want to move to Canada. And where are you going to move in Canada? To Toronto or near Toronto because it's the only place anyone's heard of. And then they get stuck in like a debt spiral here because it's so unbelievably expensive. But the prices of housing has never gone down because there is basically an unlimited amount of rich expats who are willing to move to Canada, because in Canada you can purchase citizenship for money.
What?
Yeah, because the idea is to come into Canada and move into Canada, they don't want you to move in and just get stuck on the welfare system because that'll piss people off because then it's taking up taxpayer money. So one of the ways they make sure that doesn't happen is if you have enough money to buy citizenship, then surely it won't be an issue. You have so much money that you could definitely afford a house, and they can. So they come here and they'll buy houses or whatever. And a lot of our
Whoa.
housing here is owned by people who don't live in Canada. They're just rich people investing in Canadian housing. You know, they'll buy up like 20, 30 rooms in a condo that hasn't even started construction yet, and then rent it out to Canadians or people moving into Canada. Uh, Problem is, nothing
Didn't
ever
even know
gets
all
fixed
that.
because the owners of basically every building don't live in Canada, so they're not here to fix anything or give a shit about anything. And so, like, when we moved in here, we didn't know that the AC was broken, and the real estate agent didn't know that the AC was broken because all they knew was that the owners paid for renovations, but the owners were never in the country to see if the renovations were done properly, and they weren't. So everything was broken.
Oh my gosh, that sounds super corrupt. I feel like most countries try to keep it like on the down low. It's like this thing where if you have enough money, you can move country,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah,
then they don't usually like admit that. They'll just be like,
yeah,
"Oh, are you a doctor? Can you bring something nice to the country?" What they really mean is, "Are you gonna make us money?"
yeah,
But
yeah,
Canada just dead ass lets you buy citizenship. That's
yeah.
insane to me.
Yeah, and another thing they'll do is they always brag about how like they're going to create jobs and give out like business grants and stuff because people always complain like that the job market is really really awful here. And yeah, like when I was in high school, the reason that YouTube became my job when it did, like I always was hoping that like it would make me money at some point, but that wasn't an assumption of anything even being possible when I started. Like I started back before that was something guaranteed when you get big enough, you know? Back when I started, it wasn't very easy to make money in gaming on YouTube, let alone getting
Really?
monetized in any way. Oh no,
I
when I
thought it was
started
easier back
monetization,
then.
oh god, no, back then you needed to partner with a third-party studio like Machinima or something just to get
Oh my
monetized in
god.
gaming on YouTube, and they would take exorbitant amounts of your money and lock you in for like 5-year contracts and shit.
I
It was
remember the
awful.
Machinima drama. Oh shit.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of scummy companies back then. I'm so happy it's not required now. But yeah, multi-channel
haven't-
networks are nearly useless nowadays. But back then for gaming, they were flat out required. Oh right, I should sell these parsnips, and I should buy some parsnip seeds.
See, we both got our parsnips at the same time, huh?
Right. So one thing that the government will do to like try and ease the whole it's not open for another hour. Our government likes to talk about Ontario problems just enough to try and get your vote on like the provincial election, but not enough to actually do anything, to a degree that is just kind of a running joke in Ontario that they'll never fix this shit. They all just will say that they're going to do something vaguely adjacent to it. And so like there's all these people, they move to Ontario, and so it's like, okay, well, if no one here can find a job, then how are people going to keep moving here and not just fall into debt? And the government's like, well, you see, we're going to give small business grants to people who move here. And it's like, okay, that sounds like a reasonable solution until you realize that all this has resulted in is every time you go to any corner store ever or any Shoppers Drug Mart, which is just a common drugstore here, they've always just handed it to some family who's moved here. And so, you know, like that old stereotype of like the Indian corner store owner. Here it's a government program.
My god.
They just give them all like a Shoppers Drug Mart, and it doesn't help because there's no upward career trajectory in a Shoppers Drug Mart, you know? Like how much business you get is entirely dependent on how many people living near you need a Shoppers Drug Mart. Not anything about like it's not the kind of business where you can do awesome in it and get promotions. So basically what happens is they come here, they get their Shoppers Drug Mart, and then all they can afford to do is employ their own family. Thanks, Ontario, you really failed them.
I didn't even know all this Canada housing crisis. It's like bad everywhere. I don't even know a single place that's figured out housing.
Every time I talk to people who are not from Canada and the topic of Canada comes up and I start talking about like what it's actually like here, they're always blown away that it's not a utopia. And like I just need to remind people like every country is a real country that has real issues. I could go on forever about all the ridiculous things here.
Okay, let me ask you though. If you could be reborn, would you choose to be reborn in America or Canada? Now that's the question.
The United States, yes. We've been trying to move there for years. Yes, because it is okay, so I did the math on this years ago. I guess it's a little different now, because your inflation has risen a little bit higher than our inflation. And so I'm not 100% sure on exactly how the math matches up now. But when I was doing the math like 2 or 3 years ago on what place would be cheaper to live in, I found that if I were to leave Ontario and move to somewhere like Raleigh, North Carolina, like a mid-cost state like that, my living costs between rent and was like rent, price of regular goods, price of gas, all of that stuff would get cut down like 40%, maybe more. It is legitimately almost double the price to live in Ontario than it is in most American states. And the tax is also much higher here and stuff. And I did have to factor in that I'd have to get health insurance if I went to the United States, and it was still way less.
I had no idea.
You know, it's one of those things where like as a kid, like, you know, they in Canada, they try to make you think that the United States is like the worst country ever because they don't want Canadians to leave, and Canadians really quite like the reputation as just being some kind of paradise on earth, even if no one who lives here actually thinks that in their day-to-day life. But no, it's not all hunky-dory up here. We got plenty of issues. Whoops,
I guess it all depends on what kind of issues you want to tolerate. Because I don't want to get too political.
Yeah.
I'll avoid that. But it really just boils down to what are your main points of interest? Like, what really matters to you? I suppose if housing really matters to you, I think it'll be hard to find any country that really is gonna... I know in America, people are having a hard time even finding houses. And that's with having large deposits to put down. And that's with having, like, foregoing any examination of the house by, like, an expert. They're just like, we won't even look at it. Just let us buy this house. And they're still losing to other people. Like, it's crazy, the housing market right now.
Yeah.
And, see, the thing is, how does healthcare work in Canada?
Okay, so
you kind of just...
Yeah. So we have a single payer system. What that means is that everyone gets a health card. If you're a citizen, every citizen gets a health card. You need to renew it at a local service provincial building every 2 years, 3 years, something like that. And you basically just go in there and you show your ID or whatever, and you prove that you're a Canadian citizen, and they renew it. And anytime you have any kind of doctor's appointment, or you go to a walk-in clinic or anything like that, you present your health card, and it just has to be up to date. That covers like having a family doctor and going to like walk-in clinics and stuff like that. It doesn't cover all the drugs you may need for health-related things. You still have to pay for those, although some but not all drugs are partly subsidized and thus cheaper. But you have no option for private healthcare in the country. We don't have a two-payer system like a lot of universal healthcare countries do. Here, you do not have the option of private healthcare, and so there are instances like, you know, the good thing about it is, you know, literally you don't have to pay for like a doctor's checkup, which is really nice. But then there's other things like my mom, who has had all kinds of awful health issues. And she was having really bad problems with her kidneys, but she was put on a waiting list to see a specialist about it so long that her doctor just said, okay, I just want you to go to the ER today at the hospital because you'll be waiting about 3 or 4 months for a specialist and you might be dead by then. So that is a regular thing here of a doctor telling you, go to the emergency room because you will not be healthy enough if you wait to see a specialist. That is a very common issue here. But on the upside, you don't pay for it. You do pay for some things, but not that.
like any system of expediting certain cases depending on severity?
I'm sure there probably is a system for it, but it is unbelievably backed up and it has only gotten worse over the course of COVID. It's one of those
Yeah.
things where, like, the thing that Canadians, there's actually polls on this, like, all the time. What are Canadians most proud of? And the most common thing is the healthcare system. But the weird thing is, whenever polled on the actual specifics of how the healthcare system works, Canadians aren't very enthused about it. It seems that Canadians are very happy. We're most proud of our healthcare system, but we still think that there's tons of room for improvement, which, fair. I think I agree with
Be
that.
expected.
I actually don't mind the American healthcare system in terms of, like, if you already make good enough money, which I guess would not be such a problem for someone like me who'd be moving into the country with money. But that's not how a lot of people are, and so I'm not going to go saying that the American healthcare system is fucking awesome, because it's got lots of issues.
I was wondering if Canada has to do things like enormous copays as well for any procedures.
I'm not
Because
sure.
when you think about American healthcare, not only do you have to consider I'm paying this much a month, but every single time I go to the doctor, maybe I have to pay $30 or $50. And every time I buy my medication, I have
Of
to
course,
pay X
yeah.
amount of money. And then there are some things that your healthcare will just decide not to cover just because they don't feel like covering it. There's no real protections there. So I feel like there's a lot of things you have to consider when it comes to healthcare in America.
Oh, for sure.
I couldn't say which system's better though, but
I think
know
what's
for a
better
fact.
depends on. Oh, I got a cat in my house. Oh,
You got a cat?
Yeah, a cat just showed up in my house. Oh, that's adorable.
Oh man,
Okay, my
I thought you
stamina
would get a
completely
dog. I don't know
cracked
why I thought you would get a dog. I really
out.
did
What?
though.
Why did you think I would get a dog?
I don't know. You just kind of have dog energy, but maybe that's why. Maybe
For
'cause
real,
you're,
have
like,
you
your
never been on my
personality-
Instagram?
Okay, I know you like cats. I know you have a cat, but listen, it's
Two
just that your
cats.
energy is so strongly like you just have a dog energy. That's like, what else am I supposed to put it as?
So I'll
Maybe
have you
that's
know,
why though.
I am the family's
Need a
cat
balance.
whisperer. I've had, off the top of my
Many
head, I'm going to say
conversations?
I've had about 16 or 17 cats. Only ever had cats just
Holy.
my whole life. We were the family that would take in a cat whenever someone needs a cat taken in. I'm the cat whisperer of the family, where every cat just automatically likes me. So yeah, just cats forever.
wish
I
that
like
could be
dogs. I like
me.
dogs a lot. I'm just a cat person. I just get cats. Cats get me. They warm up to
I
me
also-
instantly.
See, I'm not supposed to say this because I'm supposed to pretend that like I hate cat girls or whatever, but I also really like cats, but I only have one, but I love her very much. Is it
Aw.
just me, or do girl cats, they're kind of like, they try to pretend that they don't love you?
Yes,
They try to
yes.
pretend
Most
that they
of
don't?
the female cats I have had have been like that. Yes.
Yeah, that's my problem. Like, she's sweet when she wants to be, but a lot of the time, 90% of the time, she doesn't even want to be near you. And then I've interacted with like some boy cats, and they're so affectionate, acting like almost like a dog around me. Absolutely crazy. Why are cats like this? What's with the difference?
Deluxe fishing poles in stock.
Wait, are they?
Yeah, I just got
Wait,
the
wait,
letter.
where'd you hear that?
Hit up the. I got mail for it. Are you not signed up to the fishing newsletter?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I forgot to subscribe. I'm sorry, Willie.
Oh right, I gotta go water my stuff. I was so eager to
Yeah,
go
how could you
fish.
forget that?
Yeah, my
See?
stamina is fucked because you know when you like hit the bottom of the bar and then the next day you
Yeah.
only have half. I did that.
You messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Those mistakes will cost you. Not me, though. I'm wise and smart. I didn't warn you because I knew it would happen.
You didn't warn me that you're wise and smart.
I didn't warn you that the stamina will fuck you over if you go below the max. I didn't warn you to look at your numbers.
See,
because,
I should have remembered, but I didn't.
See, I'm just sneaky like that. It's like you said. I mean, I didn't intend that. It kind of just slipped my mind, but I'm gonna take credit for it as if I did it on purpose. Because why not? Who's gonna argue with me?
That's a Pokemon.
All I can see is your screen anyway. Wait, where's Pokemon?
You said why not?
Wait, that's a soul rock right here on the door, though.
What?
You see? That's a fucking soul rock, isn't it?
That is
I'm a
a
dumpster
very
fire.
sad soul rock, yes.
It's pretty sad. But I mean, if I were a soul rock, I'd be pretty sad too.
How
Very
do I
underrated
equip
Pokemon.
bait to my fishing rod? I cannot figure it out. Right-clicking and
I sneezed shit.
I can't,
On
like,
the
right-click 'em there,
controller,
or...
I know it's the square button, but I don't know what that... It should be the same button you use to use your tool, if it's the same as, like, on the controller. Hey, yo. Open your store. Stop having it be closed.
See, I don't... Life is hard.
Scamming the bubbles.
I'm gonna have to, like, Google it after this. That reminds me. You were saying before going for 2 hours, and it has been 2 hours since we were gonna start going. I don't know when you want to go to, and I don't know when you're gonna be busy. Ah! Must beat you to it! Oh,
You
I think
fucked
you
up.
got it.
Pathetic. Pathetic. I hope everyone in the comments roasts you for that one. It's what you deserve.
Oh, they will. They'll all tell me that I'm an awful person for killing Whisper or whatever.
Not only that, but you earned it because, I mean, who steals a fishing spot like that?
That was pretty fucked up,
that?
actually, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Typical
Did you
Canadian.
ever play Fable The Lost Chapters?
Is that the game where you basically, like, choose to be good or evil and it, like, affects the storyline? That game?
Yeah, you can do that in that game. And, like, the more good or evil you are, the more it changes how your character looks. You get, like, a halo or evil horns.
You get, like, demon horns?
Yeah, that game's awesome.
Me!
That was, like, one of my first good Let's Plays. That was 8 years ago now. Fucking Jesus, that is crazy to think that was 8 years ago.
8 years.
Yeah, you ever played that game? That's a good one.
I watched my brother play the first Fable, but then people hated the second Fable. Very disappointing, but I loved watching him play the first Fable.
See, Fable 1 was so good, and it's funny, they did a remake of it on Steam, and I'm not really sure why, because the remake works worse than the original, and the original is still on Steam if I remember right, and it runs fine on modern computers. The only annoying thing is that, like, the main menu is in a tiny resolution, but once you get into the gameplay, it all runs great. Why was I bringing up Fable?
You make a remake run worse.
I know, right? And it's, like, uglier, too. Like, it's really weird. The only cool thing is they put achievements in it, I guess.
It gives you something to do.
I'm trying to remember why I was bringing that up now. It's something about the good and the evil, something about...
I mean, you did something really fucked up trying to steal this fishing spot from me, so maybe you were talking about how you made an evil choice.
You jogged my memory.
Elliot, what the hell?
I said that I'm probably... they're all gonna roast me and I'm awful and I killed Whisper. To this day, I still occasionally get people who are angry at me in that 8-year-old Let's Play for killing Whisper, the character in the game, in the arena, despite being a good guy through the entire rest of the game. They said that was an evil action. I had the justification of, earlier in the game, Whisper joins up with a bunch of bandits to try and murder some farmers just to show you up in a quest. Or how are you telling me she's a good guy?
I mean, listen, I'm gonna side with the chat.
Okay.
We are rivals after all, and
Yeah.
I feel like we're over here just blocking Elliot from going where he wants to go. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Always in his way.
I just wait, no, I can't. Okay.
I just wanna...
Yeah?
Yeah, I just wanna mention... See, back in the day, people used to be like, and I don't know if you remember, you got comments like this on your videos. Did you ever have people who would question why? Like, I don't understand how anyone could enjoy watching somebody else play a video game, just play it yourself, like that sort of thing. I always knew why, because I would watch my brother play video games, and I love doing that. So, like, I was always YouTube wired.
Yeah, see, I was the guy who people would want to come over to my house, literally to watch me, like, introduce to them games and stuff. And so I was essentially Let's Playing for my friends, like, before YouTube existed. Literally before YouTube existed. I was made for this.
MDV, this is your destiny. When are you gonna become a VTuber? Question.
I don't know exactly how all the software with it works, although I'm sure I could figure it out.
It's pretty simple.
I'm starting to get too exhausted. I should drink the Jojo Cola.
He's drinking pop.
I am not opposed to someday trying it for fun. I don't think I would ever, like, rebrand and make it my main thing. For me, it would just be like a fun once in a while, hey, look, guys, I'm a goblin today.
Hey, you like cats? You can be a little cat boy VTuber.
I'm more into being a goblin. I think being a
Yeah, he
goblin
wants
would
to
be
be a
pretty sweet.
goblin. I
I
mean, you
like
could
to
always
think
just
that I got
combine
some
being a
goblin
goblin
energy.
and a cat boy. Why not? A goblin with cat ears.
I
Then
need
you'll
to
be
be a
unique. You'll stand out.
someone make me a VTuber model where I am me, but I'm a goblin, but the goblin is wearing those like cat ear headphones that some streamers wear
The RGB ones that light up, yeah.
and sound like
Get
shit.
those.
Yeah.
Do they sound like shit? Actually, I
I've
guess they kind
heard,
of do.
yeah, I've heard that they're usually quite awful. It's just an aesthetic thing that's cool.
I actually own a pair just like that, so I have to be honest with you. They sound fine. They sound
Oh,
great, actually.
oh,
But
there
the
you go.
problem is, mine is USB, and sometimes it'll disconnect. Actually,
Oh,
it's disconnected twice during this call. I don't know if you suddenly
fucking,
heard
that
the
sucks.
game music, but
I
that's what that
didn't.
was. My headphone just randomly disconnecting for no real reason.
Hey, so if it's a USB one, then is it one of those ones where are you using Windows?
Yeah.
Okay, so is it one of those ones where when you plug it in, it's its own audio source on your computer?
Uh, fuck. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, I've always wondered about if I could do some kind of fancy setup with one of those to get even more split separate audio tracks. So this is pulling back curtain on YouTube things that might be interesting to like one guy ever. I have all kinds of fancy audio setups, right? So,
I'm that one guy
fuck,
who
I
cares.
overexerted myself.
You're oh, look at him, he's so slow, poor guy.
Eating an
doesn't have
anchovy.
as much
It helped a
stamina
little
as me.
bit.
He's still gonna be
I'm
nerfed,
gonna go
lagging.
sell that shit. Yeah, I see the icon. Fucking
Get out of here, buddy. This is my territory.
Fine, you take over the fishing for the day. You take
Yeah.
over our quest to depopulate the ocean.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like level 3 before you. What are you gonna do? You're gonna lose. Pathetic.
Level 3. I don't even know what level level 3 fishing?
Yeah, level 3 fishing. Probably.
Fuck,
I might
I
be
think
able
I'm
to make
level-
it if I just keep fishing today.
I'm like level 1 fishing right now. Right, so the audio thing. I got all kinds of fancy audio setups I've had to do over the years. A lot of these skills I had to learn because back in the day before everyone just used OBS, a lot of these things were harder back then. But I have lots of fancy setups for splitting up different audio sources when recording. For instance, we are just in a Discord call right now, but I'm using Voice Meter Banana and virtual audio cables and routing some things through some things. And so you are in a different audio track than I am. The game audio, my mic audio, and your audio are all on separate tracks. So before I upload this, I'm going to be popping them in Adobe Audition and cleaning them up a little bit so that our audio levels are the same.
This is giga-brained. I actually wouldn't realize to do this before a collab, and then I'd just be screwed after the fact.
See,
with, like, varying audio levels.
If you want to learn any of this stuff, I can teach it to you, and it's surprisingly easy if you have someone to walk you through it. Like the Adobe Audition audio leveling thing, for instance, I literally have like, there's a tool in Adobe Audition called Loudness Maximizer that you can just drop all the vocal tracks in, and it will take them to the podcasting standard of loudness. There's actually a measurement for loudness. It's not the same as like decibels. Loudness is
Weird.
the science of how the human ear perceives volume. It doesn't perceive the actual decibels of something. Something could be technically louder or quieter, but sound louder or quieter to a human. So loudness is just how it sounds to a human. -16 is the podcast standard for loudness. And so you just, you put all the tracks in and it'll bring them all to -16. And so on average, they will all be the exact same volume, as the comments can hopefully tell that we should sound the same, despite probably not sounding the same on Discord. I'm sure I sound like shit to you right now because you're just hearing me over Discord. And for whatever reason that I've still never figured out, I sound like garbage over Discord.
Pretty fine to me. Not that bad. But then again, I feel like you have a good ear for this stuff because you've learned like a lot of things over the process of 10 years, you said, making content. Me though, I have a really hard time telling whether I'm improving audio when I make changes to it or I'm making it worse. I
Yeah,
feel
that
like
was an issue
especially
for years.
my earlier videos, they sound kind of bad or like
Yeah.
over compressed because I just didn't know what I was doing. And so I
Oh,
stopped
yeah,
doing
yeah.
all that. I feel like doing nothing sometimes is better than adding a bunch of shit that you don't need. But
I
I feel
absolutely
like
agree.
one day I hope to be on your level and able to make my videos sound actually good.
I'm happy to teach you all the stuff. I could probably get your next video sounding pretty awesome. It took me a long time too. I looked up a lot of tutorials and still made really
And they're not
over-compressed
good.
audio. Like,
Yeah, they're not
yeah,
good tutorials.
there are a lot of really bad audio editing tutorials out there. If you want advice on a really, really good audio editing and podcast, like microphone review channel kind of thing, it's called Podcastage. I know the guy who runs that channel. He's got really good stuff. Bandrew from Podcastage, he's great. He has genuinely the most useful tips and tricks for this stuff that I found over the years. There's a few other guys that I don't remember the names of off the top of my head, but I'll help you out off camera sometime on the audio stuff, on setting it up to all be nice and clean and everything, on like the order to do things in so that you have the least chance of something going wrong, you know? And I can also hook you up with some really cool free audio add-ons that you can put right into OBS because
Yo!
it allows VST plugins. So on OBS itself, I have like built-in noise reduction and stuff like that that actually sounds really good and is better than the stock stuff. And like 99% of it is free. And it's all just really good stuff and
I'm
basic
about to go
stuff.
through a Naruto training arc after this.
Like you
Commenters, y'all
can
don't even know.
like a pro tip anyone can just do right now. Anyone here has OBS free software. If you're looking to YouTube or stream or record in any way, use OBS. I used like all kinds of different paid programs back in the day, back when you had to buy something because nothing was good. OBS is the best recording and streaming software I have ever used in my life to this day. The
Really
paid
good.
shit does not compare. You should just use it and it's free. But if you just go to your audio sources right now, you can right click or go to your options wheel and go to filters on your microphone, right click the empty box and hit limiter and set a limit to -1 decibel. That won't help some people. Some people may not need it at all. But I bet you a lot of people who don't have awesome microphones would really benefit from it because all that's going to do is make sure that if you peak your microphone by it just picking up too loud a noise, at least when it outputs to the audience, it'll be cut off at -1 decibel. So it'll still screech, it'll still distort, it'll still peak. But the actual volume of it will not deafen the audience.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. The limiter is like the most important part of your entire setup.
Yeah, just making
People
sure
will
it
click
doesn't
off of
deafen
a
them at the
video
end.
so fast if they can't hear.
Yeah,
Ugh.
exactly. And then there's like little things, compressor can help with bringing up the lows and bringing down the highs and people just want to jump right into all the equalization, making the low tones sound better or the high tones or whatever. And like that shit's good, but mostly I find that's for repairing things. I have a very nasally voice, and so I often take out like a little bit of a mid-range where it really makes me sound super nasally and congested on a microphone that is sensitive to that. My microphone is very sensitive to nasally noises.
Oh man, I didn't. Your voice is nasally? I didn't even notice. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
think it's that nasally.
now you're hearing
But
me completely unedited right now. Like you don't hear any of the audio effects I do to denasal it. But like, I don't know. Some people hear it and some people don't, I guess.
listen, I'm telling you. I think that as YouTubers, when we edit our own voice so often, we start to like critique it and notice things that other people just don't.
For
So
sure.
maybe with the nasally thing, maybe that's more of a like, I've been exposed to my voice so much that I can now hear every single aspect of it, and I'm like, I think other people can too. But I've noticed a lot of people just don't understand me when I talk about, oh, my voice sounds like this, my voice sounds like that. I'm telling you, you don't sound that nasal to me right now.
Yeah,
Totally.
maybe it's just because I've listened to thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of myself because I'm my own editor.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you, by the way, because by the way, I that is all the time I have today for Stardew Valley, but I reached level 3
Okay.
fishing. Proof?
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, I'm the fish. See, it doesn't feel good because I thought we were competing, and now you're just like, congratulations, really genuinely happy for me, and now I feel like I was an asshole the entire time. But
I
as it
don't
turns
care.
out, I was gonna ask, have you ever had anyone else edit for your videos, or has it always been you?
I think I've got like 6,000+ videos on my channel, and 2 of them weren't edited by me. One of them was my friend Dean Cuddy. That was a really fun one. He did like a highlight video of me streaming some Fallout New Vegas. If you know Mathis Games, he's the editor for that channel. He's a really good guy. And the other one was my friend Mandy from My Dumb Boyfriend channel, where her and said dumb boyfriend comedically recap anime that they've watched, and it's hilarious and adorable, and they're wonderful, and I love them.
Check that out.
You'll love it. They're small YouTubers, and they're hilarious, and I love shouting them out. Been friends with them for ages. Did you used to play Flash games on like computers growing up?
Yeah, Newgrounds, I remember.
Okay, yeah, oh yeah, Newgrounds, absolutely. Do you remember Sunny and Sunny 2? Those games where you were like a zombie, and it was like an RPG. You're like a British zombie?
Very vaguely.
Okay.
I was very young, though.
The second game, Felicity, was the name of the evil woman zombie who talks to you, and my friend Mandy was the voice actress for her.
Holy shit, really?
Yes. I know a lot of weird random people over the years. Like early Newgrounds, you know how in early Newgrounds there were a lot of animations that had the same voice actors for like tons of them, right? Oh, yeah, you'd recognize the same few voices. One of those female voices you would hear in everything was Mandy. You might recognize her voice when you hear it. Like
I feel like I've unlocked special knowledge right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. She's like a trained opera singer, so she's got this really strong voice.
Whoa. See, opera singers are so impressive. People always say if you're going to learn anything, like any way to sing, learn opera, because if you can do opera, you can do anything. I feel like that's true. Yeah. I want to learn to be an opera singer now.
Oh, just do that real quick. Did you ever watch Clone High?
Clone High?
Yeah.
Wait, let me look it up and then I'll tell you.
Okay, so only Canadians probably saw most of Clone High because it was canceled in the States after a few episodes because of an offensive depiction of Gandhi.
Well, I see exactly what you're talking about right now. That was like the third picture that came up on Google. Okay.
Okay, so Gandhi was one of the main characters of that show, and it's a very funny show, but it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. If you don't know Clone High, then the thing I was gonna say about Mandy will not mean anything to you.
Makes a lot of sense.
All right, we've saved. Let's do an outro. On the next episode of this rambling ass Let's Play, everybody, I continue to make less money than Lucy did. I didn't even mention at any point that like they can go to the description and there'll be like a link to your channel and stuff.
That's fine. That's
like the obvious stuff. There's gonna be your Twitch and your YouTube and your Twitter and whatever.
Yeah, if it's meant to be, they'll find me.
Yeah. No one will have a hard time. Your name will be in the title probably, I would assume.
Yeah, I'll post it on my Twitter as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it'll be great, and everyone's gonna love these videos. Until next time, have a nice day.